What's up, guys? I'm Uncle Freedom, coming to you on another glorious and well-deserved day off, and we're going to be playing with some new stuff. So I have a brand new, very expensive camera in front of me. I have a backdrop that's on the way here now, as well as better lighting that'll give you guys a more cinematic viewing experience. I already have really good microphones because I'm a sound guy, but I've never been a video guy until now, but you guys are watching, so it's time to give you guys better stuff to watch. So I also have a new editing software, so if things seem a little weird, sorry, apologize for that now, but we'll keep going. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to do some hard truths today. Some real hard truths. We're going to talk about some hard truths of self-defense. Could also be of gunfighting, but not exclusively to gunfighting. This is a hard truth designed more for your everyday average American citizen going about his life that could find himself in the absolute worst situation known to man. So here we go. Hard truths of self-defense. If you randomly see me playing with firearms, sorry. Number one, nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, says that you're going to get an actual full view sight picture. So we have a lot of this in our head. We train it on the range, and we have like this cue style target where we're ripping shots off at this cue. But what if I told you that in an actual defensive encounter, you may only get like a sliver of this dude, or maybe you only get part of the face? What if you only get like from here to here, and that's all you can see, but you have to stop the threat? Your very everyday average 10-yard shot may become incredibly low percentage if all you have is a very small window. So something you should be keeping in the back of your head as you go train and do things on the range, which is nobody said you're going to get an actual full target presentation. Nobody said you're going to get a fully straight on. I hear this all the time. People talking about, we look at ammunition and stuff. The conversation is, well, I mean, the body's only 9 inches deep, right? But if you've got a weird oblique shot, you got to put a round through like here to get into here, might want a little better punch. But nobody said you're going to get a full sight presentation. Just period. That's how it is, man. I tell you, like, you very rarely do people stand in the open and let you shoot at them. So number two, and this goes great with point number one, and that is that you are in no way, shape, or form. And when I say you, I mean very rarely is this the case. You're not training hard enough. And I'm not talking about just your ability to shoot. We're discussing the stress, the adrenaline dump, sympathetic nervous system activations, where if you don't know what SNS is basically like your human body's defense mechanism against high levels of stress. And it's lizard brain, man. It's the do you live through this and fight brain versus do you not, or do you run away brain, right? That's where your fight or flight exists at, is SNS. Not to mention just that, now your endurance, right? All of these three things, your stress, your sympathetic nervous system, your adrenaline dump, and your own cardiovascular endurance will all gang up to absolutely wreck your life in a high stress, high threat environment. It's just reality, man. It's how it goes. That's so if you see a lot of like cop footage, like body cam footage, you will see a cop that didn't get in a you'll look at the guy, and the guy looks incredibly fit. And what ends up happening is he gets in a very short altercation with another human being. And during that short altercation, by the time he gets this guy cuffed, 15 seconds into it, he's panting, breathing incredibly hard, can't catch his breath. And I see it all the time. People comment and they say, "Fat cop needs to do more work." We have a fun video coming up on some hard truths about law enforcement, both as a cop, but as people on the outside. So you guys might like that one. That one might actually end up being Patreon exclusive. I don't know if I can say the things that I want to say out loud and keep them on YouTube. So yeah, Patreon is a thing. I'm working on getting some things set up now. But you're not. And the thing is, reality is, like, even guys that are in exceptionally good shape with great cardio, great endurance, when you're put into a very high stress, high threat environment, your body activates the SNS because it keeps you alive. Part of that is diverting blood flow and stuff to what only needs to happen, which is the reason when it stops, you're out of breath, you can't breathe, you can't talk. And that happens to you too. So, I mean, it happens in all the time. It's just a part of the equation. So you're not training hard enough. The more stress, the more pressure you can put yourself under while you train. That old saying of "we sweat more in training to bleed less in combat," that is a very real thing. And it will help, but I will guarantee you most people will still find themselves very out of breath in a very short encounter. Number 3, and this goes great with number 1 also, which is shot placement, man. Caliber don't matter. It's all about that shot placement. You carry a 22 long rifle as long as you shoot them where you mean to. Well, what happens if you don't get access to that? What happens if you don't have a full presentation target? Your shot placement doesn't freaking matter, right? I will also tell you, so recently there was a cop action that took place. There were 89 shots fired by 3 officers, or 91 shots fired by 3 officers. 1 officer fired his firearm 2 times. Those 2 rounds struck the person. The other 89 were not into the dude. So is that a stress thing? That's one of those truths we're going to talk about law enforcement wise. When everything has gone wrong and it is just, and as Clint Smith so eloquently puts it, when you got shit running down your shorts, we all love to think we can just shot placement the crap out of that. Reality is probably not. How good are you that in a high threat with your SNS activated, everything's going sideways in your brain, you can't breathe, everything's kind of pounding in your ears, you tunnel visioning up because your body is kind of like trying to divert stuff to like fight or flight, lizard brain your stuff, and now you've got a short exposure, low percentage shot that will end this, and all you have is a partial sight picture. What do you think the odds are of you making a solid and accurate shot are? For most, not very good. Just a fact. It's a hard truth of self-defense. So you need to think about this as a self-defense person. Number 4, I mentioned this over a year ago when I talked about my top 10 no-go defensive ammunitions, which there is a new video of that coming soon. But I'm going to tell you, I mentioned something in there. I mentioned it as USAA about 100,000 times, which is wrong. I was referring to USCCA. However, the problem is the more I've gotten into this train, USCCA is an insurance company. Here's the problem. If you are charged with a crime, not committed, but charged with a crime, insurance cannot pay out. So, no. I don't have USCCA. That's done and over with. And there are better options out there, attorneys on retainer. I'm looking into Right to Bear. They've reached out to me, but I'm not entirely sure I want to put my name on that yet. So we'll figure that out as we go. But your insurance is a joke. You can go back and look at a lot of people that have had their coverage pulled. They're just out all the hundreds and thousands of dollars that they spent over the years to have this beautiful, wonderful thing we call insurance. And now they basically were out of pocket another $100,000 trying to combat a lawful shooting. So fun fact, reality, hard truth. Number 5, you are more than likely going to get arrested. Now, I know this is going to rub people wrong and people are going to be, it's because you're a cop. No. As there are very few situations that occur in which it is so clear cut and the facts are so self-evident that you will not end up in jail. But odds are, the day of the encounter, you are probably going to get arrested. So you need to be ready for that. That's an uncomfortable truth, man. Like, you just got into the worst situation of your life in a Walmart parking lot, and now you're going to go to jail. You're going to get out, provided you do anything dumb. But keep that in the back of your head. It's an uncomfortable truth of self-defense. You are probably going to go to jail, at least for the night. Number 6, even if you are not arrested, you are probably more than likely going to lose that gun. Fact, 100%. It happens even as law enforcement. So as law enforcement, if I have, my Gen 5 45, it's all decked out and super sexy and pretty, right? If I get into a OIS, so an officer involved shooting, they are going to take this firearm away from me. This firearm is going to go live in an evidence lab for about 6 to 8 months, and I will get it back once I'm cleared. And everything's good. That is why I always advocate for having a second one. This one's getting a acro the same color as the light, but having a second firearm, because I like that one and I would rather not be without it. Number 7, if your concealed carry firearm is not the most fired and trained on handgun you own, you are wrong. I know lots of guys, I've covered this a bunch. We've talked about it. I've talked about the fact that, hey, you know, I don't carry my staccato, even though I shoot it the best, I shoot it the most. I don't carry my staccato because I don't want to lose it if I get into a shooting. That's the wrong answer. So what you're basically telling me is that you are choosing a less effective firearms platform in your hands, your capable hands. You are choosing to get a less effective option because you're afraid that if you have to use it, you're going to lose it for 6 months while the investigation's going on. That's really stupid. Because here's the thing. If remember what I've told you guys before, gunfights are true blue, open division, run what you brung, fights that you had competitions that you had no idea you were even going to be involved in until it started, because bad guys go first. So if that's the case, I want the best option I can. I've referred to this as, if you wouldn't intentionally go shoot a USPSA match with your tiny little Keltec, I probably wouldn't be carrying it. Everybody's got kind of their own options. For me, like, this is one that I will run summer weather and stuff like that, but I shoot this just as well as I do my full-size guns. But that's a concession I'll make. But typically, this is what I'm carrying in this holster. Tennecore Malice Soul, my Gen 5 45 with Radian Ramjet Comp, X300 Turbo, Acro. I carry this on duty and off. It is the gun that I am shooting consistently the most right now, which means that if I get into a shoot tomorrow because I'm in, Kearney, Nebraska doing some stuff, and something bad happens, and like whatever badness in Murphy has chosen to show up on my day off in Kearney, if I use that firearm, I want to know that that's the best option I could have had at that time, right? Sometimes we have to make things because of, clothing choices or what have you. But I'm not going to train on these platforms really well and then carry a little LCP. Like, that's stupid. And that's a very uncomfortable truth for a lot of people, because they don't want to think of it like that, because it justified them buying that little tiny ass freaking gun. Number 8, your ammo selection does matter. Now, I know somebody's going to parrot some of the stuff that's been said in other videos or things that I talk about, and they're going to talk about, nobody can afford to buy that expensive ammo. That's not what I'm talking about, right? And no, it's not. It has nothing to do with the whole BS thing you hear that they're going to use your ammunition choices against you in court. They could try. It's never been successfully done. That said, I still wouldn't pick an ammunition that is super gimmicky and has like a tombstone that says RIP. We don't want to do the prosecution's job for them, right? We don't want them to be able to speak to my mindset before it took place because of an ammunition choice. Carry a good defensive ammo, something that says duty, defense, whatever your local law enforcement carries, as long as it's a good, trusted, and vetted round. But your ammo actually makes more sense, and it makes a bigger difference because of its accuracy, the consistency, and the penetration you're going to achieve with it. If I am using a sub-penetrating load and I am suddenly faced to take an oblique shot because I have no option, and I catch this guy's shoulder, break all this up, but the round stops about here, I didn't do any good, man. I didn't end that threat at all. I just winged a dude, right? Versus having something that drives a little deeper, does its own thing. That would be the option I would choose. I will also tell you that good defensive ammunition is much more consistent and accurate out of your firearm once you've zeroed and set that up. So it does matter. Also, full metal jacket, not a round I would carry. I don't care. I don't care if it pisses you off. I don't care if it hurts your feelings. You need your feelings hurt. Here's the thing. I said that in the Why You Don't Stockpile FMJ video, and people literally commented on that video that because the government uses it, that's why they carry it. Again, I literally said in the beginning that is the dumbest argument known to man. And then people say, well, barriers and penetration. A good quality self-defense hollow point, a critical duty, an HST, a gold dot will penetrate all barriers that you're going to find and give you adequate penetration into a thoracic cavity to stop a threat. It will also dissipate its energy while inside of that thing so that it does not exit our particular Minecraft character and then wound or hit something it doesn't need to wound or hit. Don't buy crappy ammo. Don't carry crappy ammo. Full metal jacket will never be a defensive round. Yes, I know the government didn't sign the Hague. For those of you that can't listen to a video and immediately ran down there and commented that, I covered the whole thing. Our allies did, so we adopted. Number 9, your awareness sucks. Fact. But it's not actually all your fault. You cannot be in condition red all the time. You can't be in condition orange all the time, where we're like, sector scan. You can't do that, right? We can't be tactical Timmy and the sheepdog responder like constantly. You can't be that way because you just look paranoid. And yes, I know it's only paranoia if they're not actually out to hurt you. However, you can't be that way. It takes a toll on your brain. It takes a toll on your family, and it impacts your relationships with other people, because part of being a good, well-rounded defender of innocence, we need to be good people too. And if we're constantly pressing the red all the time and we won't let anybody, when we look around people and we're walking around like 5'11" pants, like if we looked up the dude that, like, we got our photographer's vest on, the whole 9 yards, right? If that is you, you are wrong. But we also live in an incredibly safe country for the most part. Our country does go really stupid a lot of times, and depending on where you live, it could be way more stupid than other places. I can tell you in Nebraska, we don't do that. You'll get got. You show up and kick in somebody's door in this place. However, if we're looking at it, probably it's a safe environment. So you're not thinking about it. But there are little things we can do. And it's something. And it kind of goes to mindset. But this will be its own video because it's super important, and it's what's known as the mindset triad. So that is a really cool thing. I'm going to break that down for you guys. It's a really good life lesson. It's very esoteric kind of in nature, but it will help you if you kind of follow along with it. Point number 10, real fights, like actual real fights, are ugly, and they're over very quick. They are absolutely nasty. And part of that triad deals with a large part of how nasty they can get and how long they last. But real fights are ugly. You're not going to John Wick space combat roll over a counter and like whip a dude around in the excellent BJJ move while breaking his arm and dislocating another guy's shoulder and reloading off of your opponent's belt because you jammed your pistol into this other dude's eye socket. Like, that's not how this works, man. Real fights are ugly, nasty, really, really unsexy when you look at it, and they're over. So you need to have that in the back of your head. But I'm going to give you 2 bonus points today. Bonus point number 1 is you do have a duty to act as a good, prepared-minded defender of innocence around you. That Minuteman mindset, that responder, for lack of better words, the sheepdog that protects the flock that doesn't realize the danger exists in the same building they're in. You have a duty to act, but, big but, your family's always first. I don't care that you're in Walmart and a dude just ran into Walmart with a gun. If your option is to go chase down dude with a gun or get your wife and children to safety, if you chose to not get your wife and children to safety, you're a hero or a wannabe hero and a glory chaser, not taking care of your priorities, because your family's always the first priority. That's going to rub some people the wrong way because I could do both. No, you can't. Get your kids out of the building, get them safe. Here's the thing. If you get them outside and you get your wife in the car and you tell her, just go, drive off the slot. I've got to go do this. There's nobody else here, right? That's a different ballgame because your family's safe. But then you're re-engaging in a potentially very bad situation that you now have no knowledge of because you gave up that territory when you left. But you can't stay because your kids are with you. But being a good witness is far more important than you being a hero. People don't want to hear that. They want the sexy part. You want to do the dick and drill, right? You being able to tell the cops what that guy was wearing, what he was, what he looked like, how tall he was, what he had, which direction he went, which door he came in, is ultra important. And in fact, that's one of the things that they harp on cops for when we're off duty, because cops do have, like, most cops have a hero complex. Like, they just run towards things. At least the good ones do. There's nothing wrong with that. However, we're constantly told that it's better for us to be a good, reliable, solid witness than it ever will be us to put ourselves in exceedingly more danger or make a bad situation worse by our actions. So that's just hard fact to deal with for most people. I know it is for me because I'm like, no, look at I'm going. Nah, sometimes it is better just to be a good witness. And the last part on that but, if you're going to act, you need to understand your limits. I covered this in the mindset video, where I talked about understanding not only what you can do, but more importantly, when you shouldn't be doing something. For example, if you've never made a shot into a 3x5 card at 25 yards, that environment's probably not the first time to try. That is knowing not only when you should act, but more importantly, knowing when you should not, because it's outside of your limits as a responder. Your physical limitations, right? If you've never run more than 100 yards without being completely out of breath, you are not going to sprint across the mall and tackle this dude. That is in your brain, you're going to get killed. If you have to respond, you're going to respond. You have to know your limits and act within them. Work to put yourself within your limits and then engage, but you have to do that. Bonus point number 2, and I'm going to leave you guys with this one. If you do not have medical equipment on your person all the time, every day, you are wrong. I am a big time advocate of IFAKs, and there are excellent ways to carry IFAKs with you. Things like this, right? So this is from Immediate Casualty Care. This is an IWB Utiliclip IFAK. This has chest seals, combat gauze, nasal airway. They make options that just hold a tourniquet. You can do an ankle rig, which is what I do if I'm wearing pants. The Dark Angels might jam for that. But if you're not carrying medical, you're wrong. And the reason you're wrong is because if we're talking about doing this part, somebody got hurt. That somebody could be you, could be your family, could be a loved one. Could be a random old lady that just happened to be sitting on the wrong bench. This is the reality of this world. So guys, hopefully you found that informative. Keep an eye out for the triad video. That's going to be really good. Lots of stuff I'm going to be filming today. Hopefully you guys dig the new camera, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback on the much shorter intro. So stay tuned. You'll see a lot of changes coming up. We have more cameras. We have more range stuff on the way. Me playing with a bunch of new holsters. Patreon should be going live sooner than later. Anybody that supports that, I really appreciate it. I will tell you, just the setup for trying to do the camera side of this was well in excess of $1,000. And that's just for the thing I'm talking to. We're not even talking about mics and backdrops and lights. But I want to bring you guys a better product. Because you guys support me by watching what I do, I might as well make it easier for you to watch what I do with, sexier videos. It'll also help when we do the classes on Patreon. That'll be awesome. So guys, take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Until next time, I'll see you later.